Have been going on for years now, but Kash Patel says people involved could start to be deported. There's more scrutiny than ever after that viral video from independent journalist Nick Shirley showing daycare centers in the state allegedly receiving millions in tax dollars with no signs of children there. Take a look.
Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No? Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
You mentioned it earlier. Shirley visited one business that couldn't even spell its name correctly. You could see on the sign the word learning is misspelled. Some had blacked out windows and most had no signs of children there on a weekday.
It's amazing to me that a 23-year-old journalist, a YouTuber, who's now got over 80 million views on this thing, found more in a matter of hours than Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, our Attorney General, have found in 7 years.
Of course, earlier this month, Minnesota's assistant U.S. attorney said fraud involving Medicaid services likely reached more than $9 billion.
The fraud is not small. It isn't isolated. The magnitude cannot be overstated.
And just today, FBI Director Kash Patel posted on X saying the FBI believes this is just the tip of a very large iceberg. We will continue to follow the money and protect children, and this investigation very much remains ongoing. Despite mounting criticism aimed at him from the White House and others, Governor Tim Walz has blamed Republicans for the lack of a solution.
Nobody in the legislature on the Republican side is interested in solving this. My God, it would be the worst thing in the world for them if this is solved like we're doing it here early this year, because then what are they going to run on?
The governor's office told me today that they have launched investigations into those specific facilities, and he has, quote, worked for years to crack down on fraud and asked the state legislature for more authority to take aggressive action. I think people like Tom Emmer would probably disagree. Tommy?
Thank you so much, Connor. All right, well, rampant fraud is going on in Minnesota. Their Lieutenant Governor, Peggy Flanagan, well, she's busy making a giant fool of herself, wearing a hijab to stand in solidarity with the Somalis.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Peggy Flanagan. I am the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, and I'm really honored and humbled to be here with all of you today. I am incredibly clear that the Somali community is part of the fabric of the state of Minnesota.
Well, thankfully, some are trying to expose the theft of taxpayer dollars in that state, including our next guest. Joining us now is independent journalist Nick Shirley, whose video documenting those suspicious activities at child care centers in the state has gone massively viral. All right, Nick, we've had you on this show before. You know I'm a longtime follower of yours. You've done incredible work. I know you're an incredible investigative journalist on the ground. But I guess my question is this. How much investigating did you actually have to do to find these centers, some of them that have misspelled signs? Did you just find them easily, or how did you go about this? Because it's amazing to me that nobody else besides you saw a problem here when they can't even spell on the side of a learning center, Nick?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I have to give props to the man by the name of David who helped me in this investigation. He's been doing research for years trying to expose this fraud, and nobody has given him the time of day to even talk about this. So with his help and my own investigation, I've known about the fraud taking place for a long time. Minnesotans have been telling me for a long time about the Somali fraud that is taking place. And with his help, we were able to crack over $110 million in fraud in one day. And that's just the tip. When people say it's the tip of the iceberg, it really is, because there's billions of fraud inside the state of Minnesota right now.
Nick, kind of on that topic, you said that, I believe you just said his name was David, has been researching this for years. In your experience, or in your opinion, just spending the day you spent out there tracking this down, is there any way that this hasn't reached the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz? I mean, take aside ongoing litigation or what have you, but is there any way that he could claim ignorance on this, just in your experience over this investigation?
Oh, it's so obvious. If you're living in Minnesota, you have to raise your eyebrows and think, what's going on? Literally, if you drive around Minnesota, around Minneapolis, you will see daycare centers, autism centers. You will then see transportation companies that have snow piled up as if they haven't moved in months. And then you also go into buildings where there'll be 20 healthcare companies 14 and 22, the video that I published on X and YouTube. So it is like a kindergartner could figure out that there's fraud going on.
Nick, one of the most shocking things to me in the video that you posted was the reaction of some of the Somalis that you were interacting with. The one clip where they called the cops on you for simply asking about some of the healthcare companies, the 20 healthcare companies that were located in one building. Tell us a little bit about what your interactions were like on the ground.
Yeah, they couldn't even I gave them plenty of opportunities to just answer simple questions. I wasn't going in with some crazy hard-hitting question. I was asking them exactly from the paper, where's this money? Where are the kids? You have a capacity for 99 children. Where are the children? And why are all the windows blacked out? So these people simply could not answer the most simple question as to where are the children inside these daycare centers.
Nick, when I was your age, I used to watch all the local news stations, and every local news operation had a guy, a roving reporter, who would go around and find waste, fraud, and abuse. Are there local reporters like that in your area, and why do you think they weren't doing the work that you did?
I don't know. They're scared of being called nowadays because it's Somalians that are committing this fraud. People are scared to be called Islamophobic, racist, in which has nothing to do with what's going on, because fraud is fraud. It doesn't matter if it's a black person, white person, Asian person, Mexican. Fraud is fraud, and we work too hard simply just to be paying taxes and enabling fraud to be happening.
Yeah, Nick, I mean, it's stunning. Congratulations again on your video, by the way. Well deserved. All these people are finding it and finding you and all the good work that you do. But Governor Tim Walz is pushing back on the investigations into the Somali community over the massive welfare fraud that's happened under his watch. Take a look at this.
This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy.
So it sounds to me, Nick, that Governor Tim Walz is saying that you and others that are out there trying to expose this, you're doing it because you're white supremacists. What is your response to him?
Yeah, Tim wants votes. There are entire apartment complexes where white people have been pushed out of these apartment complexes because Somalians have taken over, and they're inside of these towns like Minneapolis where they can go get votes from these people. And if you have 100,000 people that will vote for you because you're going to enable and let this stuff happen, and because you're going to call a white person racist for calling out facts, this is what's going to happen to a state like Minnesota. Minnesotans, they say Minnesota nice, but they are very upset. And I totally understand why they're upset, because they don't have a governor who's actually working for them. He's actually working against them.
Nick, your video's been viewed 93 million times. What do you think will be the result of this? Do you think that things will change because of bringing attention to this, or do you think it'll be much the same, swept under the rug and keep moving forward?
Yeah, there better be change. People are demanding it. The investigations have been launched just from that video alone. And so there better be change, because like I said, we work way too hard to be paying taxes. We work way too hard to be not knowing where our money's going. And at the end of the day, people in the government, they work for us. We don't work for them. And so it's their responsibility to hold these people accountable. And so if there's not something that's happened, people are going to be very frustrated. And so if President Trump's watching this, it's time to really get down to nitty-gritty and to make a difference in this place of Minnesota that is pretty much like Somaliland right now.
Nick, this was such an important project. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing next. What's your next project that you're going to be taking on?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to reveal too much, but the fraud exposing will continue. There's lots of things happening here inside of America and across the world. And so just showing people what things are, matter of fact based. I'm not trying to make things right or left. Just trying to show everybody things as they really are, fact based. And you can say whatever you want. You can use all sorts of hate words and whatnot. But at the end of the day, my job is just to show people things as they really are. I'm not trying to put a right-wing twist or a left-wing twist on things. I'm just trying to show people things for as they really are.
Nick, I love that you're independent, and this is the age of the independent journalists. Someone named Barry Weiss had a Substack. Now she's running CBS. Let me ask you, any job offers? Any networks want you to jump in and run their operation?
I mean, they might need help, a lot of them, but no, I'm 100% independent, and that's the reason why I'm able to do what I'm able to do, is because of people supporting me and people watching my videos. So when people support, it really means the world, whether it's just through simply watching donations, I think that it really does make a difference because everything I do comes right from my fingers. So I don't have to go through a whole entire editorial desk or a newsroom to publish something. All just comes straight from me and my camera and the people that I surround myself with.
Well, Nick, we really appreciate everything that you've done and your continued success, and of course your safety as well. You know, all eyes are on you now, so please be safe out there. Thank you so much for taking the time tonight.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, Joey. So, Nick, we've had him on this show before. He always puts himself in these positions. He's 23 years old. He's out there doing the hard work. But I saw a number of people retweeting his video, government officials, and, you know, rightfully they're outraged. But I think the question is, okay, now you've seen the video, but what are you going to do? Like, I know that there's been arrests made. I know that there's been investigations. But I think when you're still seeing the Learning Center there, people rightfully so are wondering why those in power are not taking an active role in dismantling all of this and deporting maybe who needs to be deported. It feels like there's a lot of talk, a lot of frustration, but those who have the power, it doesn't feel like they're doing enough.
No, I think he hit the nail on the head. It's a voting bloc that they don't want to disrupt. I mean, look at the Minnesota flag. Mm-hmm. They changed the flag, I think, last year, the year before. It looks like a readaptation of every version of the Somalia flag that's ever been. I mean, they are pandering overtly. Now they're paying overtly for votes. And, you know, I don't know. That has to be at a federal level. I read today that Tim Walz's state administration was trying to go after one of these facilities and a judge struck them down. I have to imagine they didn't go real hard. They didn't bring a strong case. I don't even know if that's entirely true, but either way, they've been in court over this for a couple of years now. They have been going after people at the lowest level. I don't care. I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't care near as much if these Somalis who took advantage of this, these refugees took advantage of this, go to jail, as I do the elected officials that allowed them and created the system for them to do it get in trouble. That's what I care about, because that's what's systemic and that's what needs to change.
Yeah, well, there's also been some discussion, of course, in the world of social media, but there have been some people who are experts in this kind of weighing in saying, listen, the people that come from some of these countries like Somalia, they don't understand the concept of fraud. It doesn't mean anything to them because that's how they live. It's not like here, it's like, oh, you can't steal, you can't take this money, you can't bribe, you can't do this. But in some of these countries, that's just that's the way of life. How much of that do you think is contributing to this? And you saw the people that Nick was interacting with. I mean, they didn't exactly, they didn't seem like they felt guilty. I don't know if I'm putting that correctly, but it just kind of seems like more of a way of life, maybe different than an American culture.
Well, if that is true, then maybe that is making our argument, the people who say maybe not everyone should come to our country. They're saying, well, in their culture, stealing from the government is a natural part of life. Well, maybe that's why people from that country shouldn't come here. Does that make sense?
Or maybe adapt, maybe assimilate just a little bit, maybe learn how to spell learning. Kaylee, I know that you've dug into this as well and some of the things that Joey was saying about the levels of corruption here and how deep it goes. I think there are some officials that if we really peel back the layers of the onion here, probably knew this was going on, didn't want to be called a name, didn't want to lose some voters.
Yeah, how much of the pilfered funds made their way into political coffers?
Yeah.
That's what I would like to know. An important point about this scandal, this is not the result of illegal immigration, this is the result of legal immigration. Yep. Mm-hmm. That is a very big conversation that we as a country need to have. And even putting aside the illegal fraud, the illegal corruption that's taking place, there's a legal, glaring problem right in front of us, which is that 86% of Somali immigrants here legally are on welfare, compared to 30% of Native American households. That in and of itself is a problem. They're receiving very generous welfare benefits, and yet they still went and pilfered billions of dollars from the hardworking taxpayers of Minnesota. That tells me one thing, which is that their culture is completely incompatible with a high trust society, which is what we used to be before Democrats imported millions of people into our country who do not share our values or our customs and have no interest in starting to. And there's only one solution to this. There needs to be a massive federal crackdown, because this scandal has the potential to demoralize Americans in a way that I don't think that Republicans truly appreciate. We are a country. We are a nation. This is our home. This is not an economic blood bag for immigrants to come in and pilfer. There need to be harsh consequences for all of the officials involved, but also for the immigrants. They need to be sent back. They can't stay. You have abused this country and its hardworking taxpayers. You need to go.
I couldn't agree with you more. Import the third world and don't be surprised when you get it. Still ahead on the big weekend show, a step closer to peace. We'll have more on that high-stakes meeting